I just opened my Kindle app because I saw on Twitter a little thing about Johnny Clegg's autobiography, the late Johnny Clegg, um, Scatterlings of Africa. So I thought, hey, I wonder if it's on Kindle. And obviously it'll be on Kindle, but you have to pay for it. But I don't know, my Kindle just gives me things for free. It's kind of weird. So I looked up Scatterlings of Africa on the Kindle, and there it was. But it's just for free. How does that? I don't know, understand how that works. I really don't. Maybe I got to. Maybe Kindle gives your first 5 books for free, and I haven't downloaded as much as 5 books before. I don't know. I just skimmed through the prologue or the introduction by Johnny Clegg's manager, Roddy Quinn, and actually, I got a lump in my throat. I nearly started crying. God. So Roddy Quinn wrote an excellent. It's a whole. It looks like it's a whole chapter. Never mind, just an intro. But if you're not a big reader and you don't read books, even though it's Johnny Clegg's autobiography, just read Roddy Quinn's prologue, because just that is quite educational, thought-provoking. And when you think of Johnny Clegg, one of those amazing South African icons, so talented, so special, a real South African treasure, such a positive contribution to South Africa, such a wonderful, good person. And then I heard Helen Zille this morning about the posters, the DA, and you just want to contrast the two. And if I was John Steenhuisen or Helen Zille, or that's all I know from the DA, I think to myself, aren't you embarrassed? Look at yourself, look at the mirror, and then look at somebody like Johnny Clegg. Wow, you're alive, you're healthy, you're okay. And Johnny Clegg's not around. Just try to be better. Yes, I know, Damon, you carrying on and on about the DA and the posters, and I was very prepared to leave it alone and to move on. Because yes, it's boring and it's been done to death, and poster. But I listened to the news this morning at 7 a.m. on SAFM, and Helen Zille is still carrying on about it. I don't understand. What was the Democratic Alliance's election campaign strategy? What were they planning to do? What was their aim? What was their goal? Because if I didn't know any better, I think their goal, they sat down and they said, okay, we can't win this election. Maybe we can get Cape Town still. We can't win most of the municipalities, but let's become newsmakers of the year. Let's become newsmakers of the year. Yeah, it's tough to beat the ANC at newsmaking with all their corruption and murder trials and people being arrested. A la their MEC for Agricultural and Rural Development in Mpumalanga, who, by the way, President Ramaphosa said he must step aside. I just took it for granted that you step aside. You're in court, you're up on murder charges and attempted murder charges. I assume you step aside. You need President Ramaphosa to tell you to step. I don't get it. Oh, boggles the mind. But, so, the DA is neck and neck with newsmakers of the year. I mean, So Helen Zille couldn't keep her mouth shut. And I tried to think about the whole detail of what has gone on. So I'm listening to Helen Zille, and this is what she more or less said. I will not apologize. I can't do her voice. It hurts my throat. I don't know. I can't believe it doesn't hurt her. Helen, your throat must hurt. That's how she talks. Is it from smoking? It doesn't matter. Basically, Helen Zille she basically said, she said, So not we, the DA. I will not apologize for these posters, she said. Will not apologize for them. Well, Helen, what about just keeping quiet? What about just keep stum, just move on? Suppose that didn't cross her mind. I think she loves attention. I think she just craves the media, craves attention. She's still carrying on about it. She says, okay, I will not apologize for the posters. And then she took the angle. Now this is the angle Helen Zille took. I'm trying to get my head around it because I don't want to get it wrong because it's so bizarre. It's so twisted and bizarre. She said, it is something along the lines of, I will protect minority rights. Minority rights are so important because if you don't protect minority rights, this is how things like genocide in Rwanda happened. This is how the Holocaust happened. Okay, so let's take a few steps backwards. Because obviously the DA didn't sit down and they didn't get all their story straight. Because John Steenhuisen was very adamant and emphatic that the posters in Phoenix about the ANC called you racist, the DA calls you a heroes. The posters were in Phoenix. So they're directing it at the Indian community of Phoenix. The posters were not in Glen Hazel. The posters were not in Hillbrow. The posters were not in Constantia or Kloof or Walmer in KUWTK. And then John Steenhuisen said, the posters were not directed at the Indians per se. The posters were directed at anybody that wants to uphold the Constitution and protect their rights and protect their safety, something along those lines. So John Steenhuisen even said that it wasn't directed at the Indian community. So Helen Zille has basically completely contradicted John Steenhuisen, who happens to be the leader of the DA. Helen Zille is the federal chairperson of the DA, whatever the hell that means. I just think she's basically in charge, maybe. But so Helen Zille started talking about the rights of the minorities. So she's contradicting John Steenhuisen. But then what Helen Zille is doing at the same time, and it's all about perception. She's basically, she may as well just join the Freedom Front. It's like the DA and the Freedom Front Plus, or is it the Freedom Front? I don't know what the plus. It seems like they should just all be one party. If that's where Helen is going. The DA, holistically, wants to portray itself as a political party for all South Africans. A non-racial, unifying South African party, political party. But then Helen is talking about upholding minority rights. And it's all about perception, right? So when you talk about upholding minority rights, unfortunately, you make it sound like you want to go back to the days of apartheid. That's what it sounds like. But it begs the question, how are minority rights, have minority groups in South Africa somehow been terribly oppressed and marginalized? Are schools, facilities, education facilities, medical facilities, are they not open to everybody? Does everybody not have equal rights? What is Helen talking about? And to start bringing up the Holocaust and Rwandan genocide, it really doesn't. I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense. And it's what I heard Helen Zille saying this morning when she was alluding to protecting minority rights because this is how genocide and the Holocaust happens. It's like she's fear-mongering that minorities in South Africa, I don't know who the minorities are, was it people of Indian descent, Jews, so-called coloureds, that they are under some kind of threat. There's some kind of khafar, some kind of danger. I don't understand it. Look, I try to get my head around this. I try to think about this before I started recording, because it just doesn't. But this is my analysis so far off. It's just kind of weird. Why didn't Helen Zille just keep quiet? Why is she carrying on about the posters? And who does she think is going to vote for the DA if she's talking about minority rights? That there's she's like fixated on minority rights all of a sudden. So the DA is going in the Freedom Front direction. Sure. I don't know if you're a DA voter or a Freedom Front voter. Ooh, you've got to sit down with your family tonight and have a very serious, deep discussion. You've got to sit down with your wife, with your husband, and listen, yeah, Elsie, we were going to vote Freedom Front. Now the Helen Zille wants to protect. What are we going to do? Okay, I'll tell you what, Elsie. You vote DA, I'll vote Freedom Front, or vice versa. But don't you vote Freedom Front without telling me that I also vote Freedom. Huh? Maybe they should all move to Orania? I don't know what to say. I can't make sense of it all. Be honest with me. Am I completely way off in my thinking? That's my interpretation. It's just I don't know what to say. Anyway, let's try and move on. Then I heard Kenneth Meshwe of the ACDP party. I call him ACDC. Thunder. So Kenneth Meshwe, he's also like maybe sat down and thought about strategy. He went on about, okay, I get the letter, LGBTQI rights. So Kenneth Meshwe said he respects LGBTQ rights, and it's entrenched in the Constitution. They have all the rights as everybody else. But let's not take it too far. When it comes to the scriptures, that's taking it too far. So what Kenneth Meshwe is kind of alluding to is that the ACDP will respect you if you're part of the LGBTQI community. But God, Jesus, God, does not accept what you're doing. Kind of like, what this all comes down to in my mind is Kenneth Meshwe and lots of other people. Kenneth Meshwe's got this obsession. He's got this obsession with penis and vagina. He doesn't want penis and penis to get together, or vagina and vagina to get. It's not allowed. Just Mr. Meshwe, Pastor Meshwe, just forget about it. Stop obsessing. Stop obsessing with people's sexuality. Nobody cares. What people do in their privacy, who cares? It shouldn't even be discussed, Kenneth Meshwe. Again, just keep stum. Don't talk about what you don't know about. Just shh. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. Whew, weird things. Staying on, look, it's elections. I can't avoid this. ANC Deputy President, do you even know who it is? Okay, I'm not going to keep you guessing. David Mabuza. Okay, they're going back to the Bible, these politicians. David Mabuza has likened the party's role, that's the ANC's role in South Africa, to that of Moses, who delivered the Israelites from Egypt into the promised land being Israel. This David Mabuza, he was in Kwakwa, that's in the Free State. He was busy talking to the community, discussing service delivery, and kind of admitted some failures. And he reminded people to please stand up and vote for the ANC. The ANC is the party of the people. He said, look, mistakes have been made along the way, but mistakes can be corrected. And vote ANC, let them return to power. So he admits mistakes have been made, but mistakes have been corrected. So let's look at his analogy with the ANC and Moses. It's quite an analogy. So what happened? So let's look at the Bible. So Moses, to cut a long story short, he finally convinced Pharaoh. Pharaoh was in charge. The Jews were slaves. We were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. Now we are free people, and we are out of Egypt. And you repeat that was the song, learned as a child. There's more to the song, but I can't remember it all. So, Moses with the 10 plagues, eventually he convinced Pharaoh, let my people go. Then they crossed the Dead Sea, or was it the Red Sea? Who remembers? Red Sea. He parted the sea, the Jews went through. Pharaoh changed his mind at the last time, let's get those Jews. Chariots, horses. What happened? Moses made this, the sea closed, Egyptians drowned. Didn't make it. So the Jews, the Israelites, carried on their mission. They schlepped around, they traipsed around. They say 40 years. Eventually they called it the land of Canaan, the land of milk and honey. And they crossed was it the Jordan River? Anyway, they got into Israel. So now how are there parallels between Moses and the ANC? I'm trying to work it out. Well, is the ANC saying they've had 27 years to sort the country out? Give them another 13. Maybe maybe David Mabuza is saying, give us another 13 years and we'll sort things out. Because it took Moses 40 years to get them to Egypt. Well, that's a chance. Are you willing to take that chance? You're going to vote ANC? You think, give them another third? That's my only analogy. The ANC have made lots of mistakes. They failed a lot in service delivery, corruption, big mistake. What, Moses? What corruption did Moses do? Did Moses? No. Do you think Moses wanted to traipse around for 40? I don't think so. Moses did not want to traipse around for 40 years in the desert. So there goes that. I'm sorry. Deputy President David Mabuza, the analogy's over for me. That's it. I don't get it. Maybe at political school when you were in Bratislava or somewhere in Vladivostok or somewhere undergoing your military training or your political education, someone said to you, give biblical analogies. Well, didn't work. Didn't work on me. Biblical analogies. Before I go, you might have been thinking feedback on Gerald. Gerald, remember Gerald, the story with Gerald? Blood glucose levels. That was the main issue. Then he's got to get his blood pressure done. Eventually, I said, you know what I did? I phoned Gerald yesterday because, I thought to myself, you know what, Gerald? We can't just leave Gerald behind. And also, Gerald is a symbol. Gerald represents everybody. Because if Gerald's got these issues, chances are lots of people have got these issues. I say, Gerald, what's the feedback? I tell you, I can't. I don't want to be nasty. I'll be gentle with this one. I can only get a doctor's appointment in December. So I think to myself, what are you on about? Huh? But Gerald, just phone I mentioned my doctor. You can get an appointment today, tomorrow. Well, I don't understand. To cut a long story short, eventually it comes out Gerald he says, I need to see a specialist. No. Don't you remember what Professor Harry Seftel said? You go to your GP. The GP is the captain of the medical ship. No. What do you think a general practitioner does? Your house doctor, your family doctor, your home doctor, your GP. Your GP. What do you think GPs do, Gerald? Basics, medical history, your vitals, blood pressure. They take blood samples. The blood gets sent to the lab. The lab will analyze your blood glucose levels, your blood cholesterol levels. What is that? Your maybe kidney function, liver function perhaps as well. The GP, you don't go to a specialist for that. You go to a specialist where your GP, if your GP found something that he can't work out, or he says, oh my God, I think there's something wrong with your heart. Ooh, I can hear there's a murmur. Or, ooh, I think there's something in your lung. The GP will then refer you to a specialist. An ophthalmologist, if there's something with your eye. An ear, nose, and throat specialist if he thinks there's something wrong with your ear. A heart specialist if he thinks there's some kind of murmur, there's something wrong, that one of the valves, he thinks maybe one of the valves in your heart is not opening and closing fully. Thinks that there's something wrong with your lungs, maybe a pulmonologist. That's when you go to a specialist. Sometimes you'll go straight to a specialist, like if you injure your knee, you tear the leg, you injure your knee, you can't walk. Then, okay, go straight to an orthopedic surgeon, somebody who specializes in knees. Okay, there are exceptions. Sometimes you'll go straight to an ophthalmologist or straight to a pulmonologist yourself. But in your case, you're going for a general checkup. You can't wait until December, Gerald. Your blood glucose levels was 16. And that's after fasting. So, look, sometimes there's things that I take for granted and I assume that you know. But you just go to your GP, Gerald. You get it? Are you on my page? Do you understand what Gerald did? Do you understand where Gerald went wrong? What upsets me is, why didn't Gerald ask me? Why is he wanting? It doesn't make sense to go to a specialist. You're just getting basic vitals, your blood pressure, your blood glucose. You don't go to a specialist for that. Yes, if you're 75 years old and you've had a stroke and you then maybe you go to your physician. So a physician is a specialist. He is somebody, or she is somebody who's done specializations. He's taken the general medical qualification further, done another 4 years of studying, another 2 years of an internship. You go to a physician if you're really not a healthy person. But Gerald, you got this opportunity. You're 40, 45 years old. You just go to a GP. Okay. And then finally, one last thing. Somebody messaged me, Damon, how much do you weigh? Are you 140? Now that upsets me. Why does it upset 140 kilograms? Why does that upset me? Because this person is not listening. They're not concentrating. It's on the records. I've discussed my weight. I've never said I'm 140. I said I was 138.4 back in January last year, or January this year. I mentioned that I may have been about 140 back in 2005. Because I weighed myself this morning with my shoes on, 134.5. Yes, that's not good. I'm nowhere close to 140. Please concentrate. Thank you. Oh, pressed the wrong button.